Hi, my name's Leo Ryan, and I'm a student of shamanism. What's shamanism? Well, so I made this little video. It's about 10 minutes long. It's not going to be perfect, and the goal of it is to introduce what shamanism is, and then talk also about a really important difference about the way indigenous people or pre-modern people perceive reality, how they understand their place in the world. So that's my goal in this 10-minute or so video, to give you a background on what shamanism is, and then talk about this important difference in understanding our reality. So shamans see themselves as teachers and healers. And they're also people who maintain traditions and rituals. And those traditions and rituals are designed to bring physical, mental, and spiritual healing. And that healing is done by understanding energy, by understanding how energy flows through the body, between people, and within communities. In the Hindu culture, they talk about prana and chakras. And those chakras can be blocked, or they can be open, they can be expanding. In the Chinese culture, we talk about qi and meridians. And acupuncture and acupressure are all about understanding those meridians, those lines within the body, and then how to activate, how to free the energy flow between them. And the group that I've started working with are from South America, Peru, and Ecuador primarily. And they're descended from the Incan civilizations. And the group that I meet with are called Quiros. Quiros, their tradition. And they still live up outside of Cusco, and there's about 600 or so that remain. Somewhere in the 1950s or so, a group of the Quiro leaders, the Pacos, kind of the elders, the highly trained shamans, they started to come down and introduce themselves to the north or the west. Visiting scholars would come down and study them. And it was a real conscious effort on the part of these shamans from Peru to get their message out into the world. And it's important to know that the role of a shaman, of a healer, and these energetic principles are found around the world. There's traditions in the Aborigine cultures, and the Chinese and the Hindu cultures in the areas of India. And in North America, our own Native American people have many of the same eco-spiritualism, a respect for, an observation of traditions built around, rituals built around the natural world. And these shamans in Peru, they're very, very generous about sharing these teachings so that the healing messages gets out into the world. And that's really exciting for me as kind of a beginning student of understanding this, to realize the generosity of Don Sebastian and Don Wilbert and Ray Christ, who's a student of them. They're teachers of mine, in part through the Jaguar Path School. So for me personally, I've always had this, as long as I can remember, an interest in spiritual traditions and practices and energies. I think of a line from Shakespeare, where Shakespeare's Hamlet, where Hamlet's talking to his buddy Horatio, and Hamlet says, "There are more things in this heaven and earth, Horatio, than are dreamt of in your philosophy." The idea that there's just so much out there beyond us. And when I bumped into the teachings of the Quiro people, the shamanic practice, I was really intrigued about how this could help my own energy, the flow, the optimization of my own energy force, and then how that could be a force for healing among those around me. And we talk about healthy energy. Sometimes people use the words aura, and a healthy energy is one where the energy is it's symmetrical and expanding. And all of these traditions, the lamas and the bodhisattvas and the shamans, they seek to find ways to free that energy, to unblock it so that it flows freely. And we all know that any organism that has a healthy flow of energy is healthy and continues to grow. And this understanding of energy, it's important to know, it's not that different from the way the Western scientific mind understands energy. We have ionic and covalent bonds in chemistry that bind together compounds. And then when the particle physicists look at the structure of an atom, they see that there's a lot more open space and energetic space between the pieces of matter that are there. And it's very similar in the shamanic traditions, where it is about understanding that energy flow and how it moves. So the worlds are not that far apart. So beyond understanding what a shaman is, teachers and healers that use this energetic tradition to improve health, physical, mental, and spiritual, I want to speak a little bit about this different way of looking at where we as man fits into the universe. And there are three key differentiators from the way, we'll say, pre-modern or indigenous people understand where they fit in the world, how they relate to it. That first key, and the change that's taken place within the last 500 years or so, because there was a way of understanding the way man fit into the world that was part of indigenous pre-modern people for tens of thousands of years. And it's only within the last 500 or so years that there's been a significant shift in the way we understand how we fit into the universe. That first key differentiator is the role of the feminine energy, the yin energy, the matriarch, the Gaia, Mother Earth, the Pachamama, as they say in Quechua, in the people of the Q'ero. And there was a time, and still among many indigenous cultures, that feminine energy, the giver of life, the nurturer of life, is the primal, the most important energy to be worshipped. And somewhere around 500 years ago, this shifted significantly so that the matriarch, that feminine, that yin energy, was not seen as the most important. The patriarchy, the male, the dominant, the forceful, the mighty, the strong energy became more important. And the feminine energy was pushed down and seen in some ways as evil or less than the patriarchy. And that's only within the last 500 years. And the second key differentiator has to do with the way man relates to other living entities on our planet, the plants and the animals. There was a time, and still again among indigenous people, where there's a recognition that these plants and animals are our brothers and sisters. They're sentient, they're intelligent beings that have something to teach us. They have lessons, they have energies. They're guiding spirits, and you see the stories in the myths from indigenous people are rich about the role of the moon and the role of the ocean and the trees and the spirits, the energies of the animals that contribute to man's life and understanding. And there was a shift 500 years ago from this relationship of collaboration to one where man saw himself as having dominion over the plants and the animals, dominion over every being that creepeth upon the earth. And it's only within the last 500 years that we've had that perspective. Before that time, indigenous peoples maintained this relationship of collaboration and cooperation. And the third area, the third key area, the third change in understanding perception of reality has to do with the role of magic and intuition. Indigenous peoples held that intuition was a way of perceiving of value, worth developing. Magic had a place in man's life. And in the last 500 years, magic, intuition was seen in some cases as evil, sorcery, witchcraft. And logic and reductionist thinking became the predominant way of perceiving the universe. But it's not the only way. And again, for tens of thousands of years, societies existed recognizing the value of intuition and magic. So these shamans of today, who are taking an active role in bringing a new consciousness, remind us that as a being, we have a long history of recognizing and revering the maternal, the feminine energy, of recognizing a relationship of collaboration between man and plants and animals, recognizing that intuition and magic is a valuable way of perceiving our world. And by exercising and practicing and working with those tools, the rituals that have been shaped over tens of thousands of years, that we can restore personal, interpersonal, and community and planetary health, physical, mental, and spiritual. So I'm really happy that I've had the opportunity to meet great teachers like Don Sebastian and Don Wilbert, and that Ray Christ and the Jaguar Path offer a chance for me to learn about and practice and then serve by using these tools to bring health to myself and to my family and my community. I'm excited about and thankful. Really thankful for the opportunity and the willingness for those teachers to share those gifts. And I'm looking to share those gifts with the people around me. So thank you for listening. I hope this isn't the last time that we have time together. And as they say in Quechua, Horpichai. Thank you.